doing a Transformers figure collection show and tell video today. I've done this down here before. These are where my Transformers are staying. These are the newer ones they've been putting out. I don't have any of my old Transformers, although I did have a Soundwave down here. That when we came down one of the years I was looking through, I had a thing of old toys that were left here when I was a kid. And I was like, oh, Soundwave, sweet. So I brought home and sold it. I used to have a decent amount back in the day. Like Hound, Optimus Prime, Ultra Magnus. I remember Grapple's the one I want to get again. I had a couple of Insecticons. I did have, obviously, Soundwave, and I had Ravage. And I would have had, I guess, Laserbeak came with Soundwave. I might have Rumble then, too, at some point. Or Frenzy. Because they made Frenzy in the cartoon was red and black, but they'd swapped their colors, I guess, for the cartoon. Because Rumble was typically red and black. And then Frenzy was in the show. I had some, I had a Sweep, I never had Megatron. I wanted to say I had one of the Jets. I did have some of the older, like the original Reese ones, like whenever they started 84, but I had a lot more, like 85, 86, 87, like Perceptor, Blaster, the Autobot cassette player, and a bunch of like that. Sharkticons, I think they were, no, they were not Sharkticons. Sharkticons were the things for the movies. I forget what they were called. Terracons, maybe, or I did have the Constructicons, and I had some aerial bots back then. I didn't have all of them for the combiner, but I had a bunch, like the Headmasters. I had a few of those too, where they had the little guy that also came with the robot. But Ape Face, I think, was one. I had these up until like maybe 10 or 12 years ago. I still had a bunch of my old Transformers and sold them. I don't know what I'm chatting about, but I'll chat about it for a little bit. I only have 4 here, so chat about some of my older ones for a minute or two more. There was one I had, I can't remember what he was called. I actually got him at the garage sale in 2017, so I assume I did that pickup video. But you'd push the back, the thing, and it would sparks coming out of his mouth. I forget what he was called. I had Six Shot. I had Blitzwing, who was an older one. Six Shot was one that turned into like 6 different things. And I think it was called Six Shot, and I had him not too long ago either. That when I sold that figure, I probably sold it for like $25. That figure's probably like $60 now. I was at Skyfire. They actually called him Jetfire, but they called him Skyfire on the show. I had that figure, but that figure was made like other Japanese toys. It didn't look like a standard Transformer. I remember having that figure, and I sold that one too. That one's probably worth a lot more now. And a bunch of other random ones. I also had GoBots as well. I think I still have a few of my GoBots. GoBots are like the poor man's Transformers. They were cool though, GoBots. I remember I had the base too. It was like another transforming base. It was actually kind of... GoBots are decent. I think they actually made bigger GoBots, like the size of regular Transformers. But most of the GoBots were only like that big. Like I said, I had a bunch of them though. But anyway, I got 4 here. 3 are Studio Series, all from the Transformers, the movie in '86. And this first one is the Transformers Legacy, and it's Kickback, the Insecticon. They have these ones. They have like Siege of Cybertron, War of Cybertron. They have Studio Series ones from all the movies that have been put out over the years. And also, like concept ones too from Bumblebee, a lot of them. I had Kickback when I was a kid. I want to say I might have Bombshell too. I was Bombshell or Shrapnel. Like I said in the other video, I always liked the Insecticons. I thought they were cool. And they were a rogue faction. Like, they aligned themselves with the Decepticons, but they were constantly fucking over the Decepticons. They weren't really in it for themselves. I always thought that was kind of cool. They were like another faction. Because they were here longer, I think. I want to say they might have been around. I don't think I didn't watch the Beast Wars show cartoon. So I don't know if the Insecticons were there, but I want to say the Insecticons would have been on Earth as long as grasshopper locust or whatever. It tells you how to transform them in 15 if you open it, but 14 steps. Some of these things when you're a kid were like, some were very simple, other ones were a little more complicated to transform. But that's Kickback. I also had Omega Supreme, and he was a bigger one. Second one is the one you saw the other day, Noah, the Sharkticon. And someone mentioned in a comment that they re-released this figure because I was like, I saw this figure like 2 years ago, but they did re-release it, they said. I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's kind of cool though, because I was looking at it the last time when I got these other two, but I was like, I already spent like $55 on these things, $60. I was a bit more, but he's from the movie. He's in the part with the Quintessons and they throw them. They do the judge, the trials, and they throw the people on the thing. And then the Dinobots are there with Hot Rod and a few of the other ones, Blur, maybe, or Cup, whoever was there. And then the Dinobots are like, you take them out instead, and they start going after the Quintessons. Because the Dinobots just like tearing them up, and they're like, yo, we don't want to deal with this. But cool figure. Obviously, like I said, Transformers the movie wiped out most of the toys to introduce new toys. It was literally like a movie. The show was literally like a constant toy ad, and then the movies are like, okay, get rid of these old guys and let's bring in the other ones. Although, like the Dinobots stayed. They were there originally from the show. They came across in season 1. Not in the first episodes, but they came along a little later. The Insecticons came in season 1. They turned into the Sweeps, or you want to say Bombshell might have become Cyclone, whatever you want to debate on that. But they still sold Insecticons after the movie, though. So I guess they were still somewhat popular. And Insecticons appeared randomly in season 3 in like the background and stuff. They could clone themselves, so there was the theory that those were clones that bit it in, or got reformatted in the movie. But yeah, they wiped like everybody out. But this is Noah Sharkticon. Yeah, like the first 15 minutes, like the Decepticons intercept the ship, the Autobot ship, and they kill freaking, is it Ratchet, Prowl, Brawn, and Ironhide, I think. Like quickly too. It's funny, everybody always jokes when you watch stuff on YouTube related to old Transformers G1, the cartoon. Like, they're getting hit in the cartoon but not dying. They get like damage, and the same shots in the movie are just killing them. But it was crazy to see that as a kid. You're like, oh shit, they're just okay. I didn't have like an affinity. I like the Insecticons, but I didn't have like a serious affinity towards any of them to where I was like, oh my god, no. But I was like, oh my god, it's kind of jarring. I'm like watching that movie. I'm like 7 years old or whatever. Third one here again, Transform the movie, Perceptor. Perceptor came about in the second season. There was also comics for Transformers, I think. I don't know if they started before the show or not. They might have started right around the same time. As the comics get more graphic and stuff. But he popped up in series 2, season 2. Cool, he's the Microscope. He was always a cool figure back then, too. 20 steps to transform him. I got all these from the Walmart in like Wales. They actually have Sludge in there. The one Dinobot from the movie, but it's $55, and I was like, I looked online and the thing sells for like $40 online, so I was like, all right, if I wanted to get that, I'm not paying $55. I need to just get the Grapple. He's a legacy one too, the Grapple. I just remember specifically that figure when I was a kid. I was like, he popped up in the second season too. A lot of new ones came in. Like the first season didn't have a ton. Like I said, Perceptor appeared then. Another cool figure though. I guess these have they have the box. I guess turns into like a little thing from the movie, a scene. But he's cool as well. Like the first season had the Decepticons were Soundwave, and the cassettes Rumble, Laserbeak Frenzy, Buzzsaw. Or did Buzzsaw came with the figure, actually? I don't think it was Laserbeak that came with it. I think it was Buzzsaw that came with the figure, but he was barely in the show. The toy, I think Buzzsaw came with in the box with Soundwave. There's also Shockwave, who was another gun. Shockwave was there, but he stayed on Cybertron, but he was there from the beginning. Skywarp, Starscream, and Thundercracker, 3 great names. Megatron, obviously, like I said, Rumble, Frenzy, Laserbeak, Buzzsaw and Ravage. What was the fuck? Perceptor, right? He was the camera, the 3 figures that turned into the camera. I think he was Perceptor. Wait. Sorry, he's Perceptor. Oh my god. I'm like, didn't I just say Perceptor? What was his name? Oh man. I gotta try to figure this out. There wasn't a lot. And the Constructicons came along in the first season as well. I think they were built by the Decepticons, I forget. But then there's a backstory where they actually were hanging out with Mega Supreme in the second season, so they were already around. And then there's another one where they built Megatron. So they're, I think it's all over the place. I think was there 6 of them? I forget their names. Mixmaster, I think, was one of them. Why can't I remember? Oh, I gotta look. I'm gonna have to look it up. But anyway, I'll think about that in a minute. And the last figure is the Sweep. He's the biggest of the figures here, the biggest box. There's a Sweep, and it looks similar to Scourge. I want to say this one was like $33 when I got it. I did have this one when I was young. I remember this is another specific one, like Grapple, that I remember having. But he's a bigger figure than the other ones. The Insecticons were always smaller. So were like Brawn, were the mini-bots. Brawn, Bumblebee, Cliff Jumper, Gears, and I think 1 or 2 others, like from the original set. And they were all in the originals, those guys. And then there was Optimus, Ironhide, Ratchet, Wheeljack. There was more Autobots, and then they made the Dinobots. Then there was Prowl. Say Blue Streak. Wait, was there Sunstreak? There was Sideswipe as well. And then there's the other one. Were they Ferraris or the Lamborghini? The yellow one. Was he Sunstreak or what was his name? I don't forget. But, pretty cool. He's a cool looking figure. I mean, these were cool. It just sucks that they had to, like, trade out. Like, oh, there goes Megatron, there goes Thundercracker, Skywarp, the Insecticons, and then Starscream gets killed by Galvatron. But he popped up as a ghost in a few episodes in Season 3. Season 3 was not as good. They introduced some cool new Transformers, but it just the animation wasn't as good. It was just weird. Ultra Magnus was just a white paint job of an Optimus Prime, and he had a different back trailer, a bigger one where you'd put him into it, and he looked huge. I said another one in the box, a little dented there, but cool to have. I don't plan on opening them anytime soon. I don't have enough space now. I'm bringing this Xbox back to get them in there, so I'm going to have to wait till we come down another time by car to bring these things back. But definitely cool. How many steps is this? 19. See there, you see, I think that's Shrapnel and Kickback on the other side. Guys are being turned into the reformatted by a Unicron. Really cool though. Sweep, Decepticon Sweep. The original figures, you'd like rub the insignia or whatever Oh, I had one called Punch Counter Punch. He was like, I think he was an Autobot spy. So he had like both. He flipped him like the way he transformed me. He was both Decepticon and Autobot. What was his name? Reflector. I think it was Reflector. Perceptor's name? Reflector. I'm just gonna go with that. If I'm wrong, let me know. Reflector. But yeah, those are my 4 newer Transformers. I would have loved to have had all those ones I had when I was a kid. I had a good amount. That, I had G.I. Joe, He-Man, Star Wars. Those are the 4 main ones. Then I ended up with a bunch of Ninja Turtles. Those came out in '88. Food Fighters. I had Mask. I had not a ton of Mask figures were cool. Obviously, I picked some up at garages. You would have seen those videos. Those are really cool Mask figures. The figures weren't cool themselves, but the vehicles, how they turned into other things, were awesome. They had hidden guns and stuff. And there's other random things like Centurion. I had one of those things here that I brought back. Sky Raiders was another one I had that was here. Where you would attach, I think they're called Sky Raiders. You would attach the things to other things and they would like almost like zip line. You put the things on. Like I said, GoBots. Battle Beasts were cool. I had those. But anyway, that's just a Transformers collection here. Someone's jiggling around there. But yeah, thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.